Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're here today. Actually, I don't really know what we're doing today. There is very little plans, but I will tell you this. So recently, look, if you know me, I'll put my hands in here so you guys got movement. If you know me, Yoshi Topsy Turvy, always by my side. But we'll get to that. But I have a lot of old like original hardware for things. I keep all pretty much all my consoles and stuff. I had one PS2 I threw out at some point and things like that. But I have generally been pretty good about not just like tossing my consoles. I'm okay to toss stuff around it if it's like, I have 8,000 composite cables for GameCube for some reason that I've come across. Like at some point, it's just kind of like, do I really need all these composite cables for GameCube? Probably not. But generally, I've been holding on to a lot of things that are like these are generally good, but it needs some kind of fix, some kind of repair, something to do. And if you know me, I am not a very handy man. My hands actually suck really bad in terms of just like I do not do like I have very little precision and my hands shake really bad. It's just something I've dealt with my whole life. I don't know why. Don't diagnose me with anything. I'll talk to my doctor about that again once I go back. but anyways, so it's something that I've been meaning to do, and I continue to sit there and look at a lot of things I have and go like, I just need to fix this eventually. And I'm trying to make changes in my life where instead of just saying I'm going to fix this eventually, I'm putting actual timeline on things that I want to get done, right? And so, I recently actually, I think it was over Christmas, I got a soldering kit. We're not doing soldering today, but I want to learn to do some soldering, so that's something I want to do generally. And then also, I just have a lot of stuff around that has some lingering problems, and I guess like I said, I'm not really playing anything. I guess maybe we're gonna talk about some of that stuff, and also maybe do something about it with some stuff as well if I can in the short term. I don't know how much I don't know how long I plan to sit down here for, what I'm gonna say even. I don't know. Welcome to the fantasy zone. Anyways, I'm gonna move my microphone, so there might be some noise there. So I have what is essentially my junk bin. I don't know how visible this is gonna be, but there's a whole bin of junk down in here. Very cool, very exciting. So I'm not gonna try to get it all in frame. It's a whole bin about the size of a cardboard box that would have like, I don't know, a printer in it, something like that. So that's about the size of our bin here that's going on. And I have also recently purchased some stuff from Stone Age Gamer, and I need to make sure there's no address information on this stuff. Yeah, there is. Let me just pull the items out. But some of this stuff, will help resolve some of my problems. Most of this is batteries right now. Not to say we're doing anything with these today, but a lot of these are batteries because a lot of my old game console batteries were bulging, bloated, did not hold a charge, all that stuff. So I just bought a ton of batteries for some of this stuff. And I think we'll talk about these, although you can probably just get a good glimpse of what's going on here. And then just talk about some of the hardware I have just sitting here. And again, we might crack something open today. We might not. I don't know. Probably nothing crazy, though. That's for sure. So, I have a thought of what I might want to actually do today, though. But for now, I think because this pile is so disorganized, let's just go through some of these items that I want to talk about here and there. Hey, here's a Nintendo 64 controller. You guys like Nintendo 64? I think it's all right. I don't have that many games left to play on it. But you know what I don't like about the modern day of Nintendo 64? These replacement analog sticks that are like GameCube style, they're awful. I hate them. My experience with them is that the dead zone on them is severe. So when it comes to, using an analog stick on these controllers, they just do not feel like an original Nintendo 64 analog stick in terms of sensitivity. Generally, are these more comfortable? Yes, absolutely. But just the way it reads stuff just is not good or accurate. So If you've listened to the podcast a long time ago, I went through a big whole thing of trying to find replacement sticks for analog sticks on Nintendo 64. The answer is that nothing is really as good as the original Nintendo 64 analog stick, as far as I can tell. However, I have been open to trying different types of analog sticks here, and now I'm gonna look at this. Let me make sure this is actually the right stick type first, because I have ordered like different sticks before and will get this stick in the mail still, even if it is a different stick. It's really stupid. Okay, this is a different one. So this looks more like an actual Nintendo 64 analog stick, right? So here's this. It's on the little ballpoint thing right there, and we got that. So this essentially just goes in here, and I am trying to remember if this is the same brand or not. This says repair box. I feel like before I used one called Old School, SKOOL, and I was really happy with generally, the feel of those sticks and how they control. So this looks like it's a different brand. So we'll see if I'm as happy with this one. But are they as good as the original 64 sticks? No, they aren't. But these aren't too bad. Basically, there's just like a little wire in here, so you just have to kind of like disassemble the 64 controller itself, take some of the screws out the back, and then basically there's this like center component here that you just basically take apart. So I don't think we're gonna do that today. I just don't think my gut's feeling it right now. I'm thinking we're probably not gonna open up anything big today, honestly. I think we're mostly just gonna chat today. So if you're coming here looking for a repair video, not today at least. So there's one thing that I want to kind of resolve. This cable. So this is not one of my original controllers. I got this when I had to buy a replacement 64 because my 64 was having some issues. But this cable also, and sorry, I can't tell if the focus on this is awful. Let me pull this over here real quick and see if I can get a better look. I think this is okay right here. But you can see there's like a little twisty tie here. It's not done very well. It's pretty messed up. So I'm also wondering if I should do something with that. So the soldering kit, no, I bought a heat gun for a separate reason. And that actually has like little rubber ties that you can basically like heat onto wires and things like that. So I'm wondering if I should maybe take those and heat that onto here. I don't know if that's actually helpful, but it looks like we have 2 breaks. Yeah, here we go. So I have plenty of 64 controllers around, so fixing this isn't like, super urgent or anything like that. I don't have any specific needs. It's a nice color. I don't have a blue 64 controller, so I think it looks pretty good overall. But yeah, the analog stick is the number one thing for sure. And then maybe with the heat gun, I'll try to redo these and make them look a little bit better. This one's actually pretty good right here. It's pretty well wrapped, and it just aesthetically it looks a little weird. This one is really ratty, and I think that'd be the one that I'd want to take off and replace. So, here we go. So this is really the first thing I want to talk about. My Game Boy Advance SP. Now look, I got this thing when I was, I don't know. Oh, what year was this? 2003 or something like that? I didn't even ask for this. I just ended up with it. I was surprised my dad got it for me. I wonder if he thought it was a new system. I don't know though. But I'm really curious. Maybe I should ask him sometimes, like, how did you end up with this? And chances are he's gonna be like, I don't remember. but I definitely I don't know. I've always had weird feelings on the Game Boy Advance SP. One thing I also have a problem with, I always say advanced. It's advanced. I say advanced, though. I will type advanced all the time as well. But I've never really liked the form factor that much compared to like a regular GBA. Do I have my regular GBA over here? I don't think so, but I might go grab it here in a second. I just prefer the form factor of the GBA here, but generally this has held up overall. There wasn't anything necessarily wrong with this last I checked. The hinge is still good. It is a little dirty and the bottom's scratched up and stuff a bit. This platinum has held up surprisingly well. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe it's because I just didn't use the Game Boy Advance SP as much. But this system's still a little grody. There's some weird stuff right there on the corner. So we might go ahead and try to clean that up here in a moment. But the big thing is that the battery in this thing is long since kaput. And so I got it out of there. I don't know what, like, these batteries and these kind of consoles look more like this, right? And I don't know if they like explode in the same way that other batteries do. So let's see what we got going on here. This is a tri-weight. Is this a tri-screw? Okay. I think for the battery, they just use like a 4-point screw. So if you don't know, a lot of Nintendo consoles use like little tri-screws or whatever. I think the intention was just to make them less accessible, but you can buy like a bit set specifically for Nintendo hardware usually. So let me just see, is this good or is this stripping? I think this is good. Yeah, it looks like it's coming off, so whoop, releasing itself. So the battery should not be in here. Cool. And so I just got all these parts I got from Stone Age Gamer, which we've talked about on the PCFX podcast briefly before. I haven't really used them before, but they came up when I was looking for this battery. And it is a Game Boy Advance SP Mega Bat 800 milliamps or something. I was just looking at some reviews online or people talking about it. Thankfully, like, this stuff is like niche and obscure enough that you're not going to run across like a ton of sites like trying really hard. So I'm going to adjust the focus a little bit, or at least see if I can. All right, I think this is what we're just going to do. I don't feel like you're going to find much like adverse sites that are like, oh my God, what's the best Game Boy Advance SP battery? Right. So it's pretty easy to just look stuff up and figure out, what a good option is. And it seems like this is pretty decent from what I can read online. And, there are other cheaper batteries you can probably get, but, I don't know the performance of those things. Looks like it just slips right in there. Boop. Upside on in. And, yeah. I've heard, is this the one? Yeah, I think some of these, I think depending on the GBA you have, this wedge is supposed to like secure the battery. I think my GBA is not one of those. I think that's a later model GBA. I'm curious if it will fit in there. Doesn't look like it will. But yeah, it comes with this little plastic wedge. Guessing like a little 3D part. But I believe it's like the later models that have like backlit screens or something. That potentially is an issue with. But when it comes to the regular one, I think they said just drop it in and you're good. I don't have my original GBA SP battery anymore. I ended up getting rid of it. So should I have done that? I don't know. I feel like batteries are basically just said dispose of it in a way that you're supposed to kind of deal, rather than, I don't know how you fix a battery, right? And I feel like that would be a dangerous thing for someone like me who has no idea what they're doing. So that's all in there. I'm assuming this has no charge. Oh, it does. So there's my little Game Boy screen there. Sounds like the speaker's working. The backlight turns on and off. Pretty sure all the buttons are working as well. So, one thing I've been thinking about. So, there's those, I have like a, what is it called? Galaxy phone or whatever. And I've always been kind of interested in like the folding flip phones kind of things. And it did make me think about like the GB SP form factor a little bit. And I was like, generally I like that form factor. It's just nice and easy to kind of like throw in your pocket when it's folded up like that. And so I've been trying to not use, I think I'm an old man now, right? So I think there's always the desire to be like, brain, stop being tempted by the social media sludge machine, right? That's not to say I enjoy using social media, and I think as long as I'm using it in a healthy way, it's fine. I've been trying to do that with Twitter lately. So a lot of benefits for Twitter for me specifically. But I have to use it in a way that makes sense. I can't just like randomly do stuff. And I was like, one thing that'd be nice, and I don't know if I'll just look like an old man out there at the Game Boy Advance SP, but is to play some of these GBA SP games that I've been kind of sitting on and like bringing them out into the world with me. And if I find a little moment to play Yoshi Topsy Turvy. Is it gonna work? No, it doesn't want to work. Let me try just taking it out, put it back in. Okay, that looks like it's worked. Need that Nintendo logo there, but Yoshi Topsy Turvy, right? Oh yeah, DS functionality, that makes sense. Play level of Yoshi Topsy Turvy at Taco Bell. someone comes up and be like, what are you doing? I'm like, Artoon's finest video game. Today, me and Artoon are having a good time. But yeah, I don't know if that's actually what I'm gonna do with the. I think the big thing is like, so there's a couple different things. I was talking to some people about one of the me trying to use Twitter as a more like effective tool is I was asking people about like, wait, what kind of device do you take around with you to play games? It's like a dedicated device, and some people actually said they use their phone with like instead, which is perfectly fine, and I think it totally reasonable. But people have bought different devices, emulation devices, and things like that. And I think there's always a temptation to be like, yeah, because it'd be really nice to do save states and stuff like that. But I think at the same time, I feel like the games I want to kind of play on the go are stuff that are going to be stuff that I want to be able to pick up and play and put down really quickly and easily in general. So maybe just in general, selecting games that fit more in that style, rather than trying to how do I put it? Trying to like force other game types into that space. I guess like, and the fact of the matter is that like all that stuff costs money, where getting this GBA battery solves the problem of I have a GBA that's unfunctional right now only because it's missing a battery. but also B, gives me a reason to consider using this and see if it's something that is, something I want to continue to use in my life. So I'm gonna get some alcohol and some other stuff just to clean this up a little bit here. So hey, you're gonna join me on this journey. We're not like this is actually in decent condition considering some of the other handhelds I have, honestly. So yeah, we'll do that here. Also, I just realized I don't have any lights on, so that tells you how fast and quick this came together. So yeah, but I got some little spatulas. I probably shouldn't have done that. I don't remember why I bought these initially, for something. But I find these little plastic things, I'm sure they are like slowly wearing down, but they tend to do less damage to consoles than using like, something metal to go in there and like scrape stuff and things like that. So I'm thinking initially here, we'll just kind of like go between the cracks or something, right? I don't know, see if there's what's going on in there. So, talking about a little bit of grubbiness, honestly, and I don't want to go too deep into this. Yeah, I, as a kid just had really grubby hands, and I do, so I mean, I definitely didn't like take care of my hands as a kid. I think a lot of kids don't. I do think I do still struggle really hard with my skin on my hands peeling pretty bad. In general, it doesn't look like anything's coming out of these things over here. So, like, I do feel like I get a lot more skin on stuff than I would like, I try to be pretty good about cleaning controllers. Okay, a little bit of, like, flakes coming out of here. Nothing crazy. But little bits here. But yeah, I just had really grubby hands growing up, and my consoles and controllers definitely show it. And, going back and cleaning up 20-year-old grubbiness is not, I don't know. I feel like some people find that pleasing. Do I find that pleasing? I'll be honest with you. I feel like I am conflicted. I think there are things about it that are pleasing to see something like kind of come together in some ways, right? You see something just clean up in a nice way. That's good. You see some gunk and grime just come up. But the gunk and grime is gross. So, like, seeing it come out is, like, not something I really want to see, right? It's not, I don't desire it, per se. But it is nice that it gets done. Do people desire to see the gunk? Because it's like, isn't there, like, YouTube videos and stuff where it's like, check it out. This man had a giant pimple that's built up for 8,000 years or something like that, right? I feel like that is, like, what people like a lot of times. But I don't think anyone wants to like touch it, right? And I think maybe in cleaning it directly, it is very much a like you're gonna touch this, and it's gonna be gross when you touch it. I will say not a lot coming off this thing though. Generally, I'm not doing the most thorough and best job, right? But generally feel like this is pretty clean. Maybe I went back and cleaned this at some point in the past and don't remember it. Probably take some Q-tips in these bigger holes here. I'm gonna just kind of scrape in here a little bit. I don't want to go too deep and do anything. We definitely got some grime and crumbs down here. I don't know if, like, I'm not a professional in doing this stuff. You're like, Ben, you're damaging it. I'm trying my best not to. um, but you know, we'll see where life takes us. Like I said, I haven't been using these things in forever, so you know, if I ultimately destroy them, I will probably have lost very little value in my life in terms of actual things I'm using. So I mean, a lot of problems with portable consoles for me personally is you know, I just don't play games portably very often, and it's part of maybe me wanting to address that a little bit. Um, it's hard, you know, in America, especially when you know you don't, or you're not using public transportation, you're driving a car, and you know you're you know out and about. You live your own life. I'm a single man. Like I don't have like a thing that I got to go wait for somebody else to get out of. Right? I am just living my life, and so like there's not that many opportunities in my life where it's like I'm just sitting here waiting for something to happen. If I am out and about, I'm usually doing it. So here's an interesting thing. We got this battery. We got the serial number on here. It looks pretty gross. We got some plastic peeling here. And like the question is like, should I, should this just go? Right? I don't think I'm going to make that decision today. But I think eventually, if I aesthetically really want to ask the question of how this thing looks, I mean, I'm sure there's some nice bacteria, 15 years bacteria that will be there, but you know, a little grime doesn't hurt, right? If I'm cleaning the same spot over and over again, I'm sorry, my brain is chatting rather than thinking right now. So, all right, let's go around this little. Did I go around the Nintendo logo already? I feel like I might have already done so, but I assume it's just like a sticker here, but the sticker seems to hold up pretty well. Like I said, I think the GBA SP out of most of my portable systems is probably the least used. I mean, it didn't help that the DS came out so shortly afterwards. Just wasn't a lot of reason for me to use this thing. So, all right. So I think next we're gonna go with some alcohol here. So I don't think that there should be any issue with the alcohol in this platinum stuff. I will say platinum paint jobs on these consoles at the time, I hate it. I think they look bad. I think they hold up poorly. Um, if you know, like, if you have, okay, look, I'm gonna bring a DS out here real quick. Look at this thing. It's the same kind of plastic, right? I'm guessing again that this is just much more thoroughly used, but boy, like, does that look bad? And like, what do you do about that, right? Yeah, you can see the same plastic there, but like, what do you do about that, right? I don't know. Have you done something about it? Let me know. All right. So, I don't know. Is this too much? I'm gonna feed this off a little bit. I'm gonna start up here in these little. I don't know what these are for. Oh, these are the clamps for the like Game Boy uh player connector cable. I don't know what other things use these clamps though. I'd be curious. Yeah, if you're connecting your Game Boy Advance to a GameCube. I didn't do a very good job on this L. Let's see. Sorry, punching the mic over and over again. It's kind of in a bad spot, honestly. Okay, I think that cleaned it up. Maybe you just need to do some rubbing alcohol over top of it. Get the gunk up. But yeah, so there's stuff like this. Like there's this little area up here between the plastic and the rim here. This is not big enough for that. I wonder if I should get like a paper towel. All right, let's try this. Oops, am I getting? Nope. There. Get it in there. I put some rubbing alcohol on it too. Okay. I know it's probably hard to see. I mean, this is a generally pretty clean system overall, so I think the impact of anywhere cleaning is going to be pretty minimal here. But I think this is working out pretty okay. For what I'm doing, I think this is okay. All right. So it's probably fine. We're gonna do a little scrubby scrub over these. I think rubbing alcohol should be fine on these kind of ports and stuff. Um, you do them on game cartridges and things like that too. So I'm guessing as long as you let it dry, not a huge deal to go in there. You got darkness going on there. Shwicka shwicka. A shwicka shwicka. Seems like it's doing something. Same deal here where it's just like it's a little tight, so I don't really know. Maybe try this as well. And no way am I a professional. Do I know really what I'm doing? I'm using, what's it called? 91% isopropyl alcohol for this. Sorry, we're kind of out of range. Which generally it just seems like as long as you use a higher concentration of alcohol, life is good and fine. So it's not like I'm regularly cleaning this thing up. When was the last time I touched this GBA SP? Who knows? Taking the battery out at the very least. All right, I think that's probably good for now. We got a little gunkiness off that. A little piece there. Let me just take a good look at this and see. Not sure if my head's in the way, sorry. Just need a close look. There's definitely like some gunk that's like under the sticker here a little bit. How much of that is just like exposed adhesive catching stuff is kind of another thing. I'm probably like, picking up the sticker more. There's really where we need. I don't know if you guys can see that, but bam, 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 bam. Little grubbiness right on the tip there. Again, this sticker is definitely seen better days. Maybe someday we'll do something about it. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, this is like the biggest thing probably on this thing is this little hinge here. Got some stuff in between it. I think just rubbing alcohol should work on this. This side's better. Yeah, I don't know what rubbing alcohol does to this plastic. Hopefully nothing. Hopefully I won't wake up with platinum smear. All right, there's a little bit in this little crevice here. Oh, there's like a little piece of plastic in here I've never seen before. Sorry, focus in a little bit. So stuff like this. So there's the on and off text here, and like getting in there is just really tough. I'm just rubbing it with a Q-tip with alcohol, and it doesn't seem to help. I mean, at this point, like this kind of stuff doesn't bother me that much. So if it stays there, it stays there. But just trying to see what we can do. And try to keep my head back a little bit more. I haven't been able to see like how much I've been blocking the view, but I'll try to keep it a little better. I don't know if I should have turned that on after I put rubbing alcohol over there. Too late, we did it. Anything with these lights here? I think so. Let's take a look at these buttons. So there's a little growdiness around these buttons here. Oh yeah, there's a lot. I don't know if you guys can see that. It is quite a bit coming out there. Oh boy. It's one of those things where probably opening it up would be better for cleaning this, rather than like trying to shove a piece of plastic between these buttons. But the A button definitely is a lot worse off than the B button for sure. Crumbs. Crumbs everywhere. Sure, some that's just getting pushed right back in, but probably fine. The plastic tool seems to do a pretty good job of not scratching stuff. I'm sure there's like micro scratches and stuff, but yeah, this D-pad looks real bad on the sides. I'm a little scared to open smaller portable devices like this. Controller's a bit easier, I feel like, but full on game consoles portably, you got a lot of ribbon cables going on, I feel like. With the cameras on like the DS, the screen, speakers, anything that goes through the hinge specifically just seems like a nightmare to deal with. I don't remember the last time I opened up a system like this, though. I will be honest with you. Maybe the Game Boy Advance, the original one. D-pad's not as terrible as I thought it'd be. It looks bad. Maybe I'm just not getting in there good enough. We're gonna get much more with the current setup we have here. I think ideally we'd take this thing apart and get all the components out and, soak them and stuff like that. But not what we're doing today. And I think this system probably doesn't really need it. Again, I think this system saw minimal use on my part as a kid. Trying to get between the hinges here a little bit. Might just do like a good like swipe across the plastic as a whole. Some of this stuff doesn't seem like scratches. They're just kind of like stuff that's kind of built up. Sure, not all of it. I'm sure a lot of it is scratches, but seems like when I'm going across these edges here and stuff, like things seem to be happening. Don't really know if rubbing alcohol and Q-tip is the best way to do this. I might have like a cleaning cloth. Let's try this. Again, I'm not saying this is the way you should clean your stuff. It's just what I'm doing right now. So, I feel like my experience generally has been rubbing alcohol doesn't seem to cause many problems on most things, but I'm sure it can. I feel like maybe on like game cases before, like if I'm a little too rough with like a cloth like this, like a textured cloth, um, that there is a chance that they will like become rougher, kind of thing. So, all right, I didn't really get in between these shoulder buttons earlier. Let me get in there real quick. Again, if you're like, Ben, what are you doing? Why are you making this thing? Really, there's no real thought process here. I just took some stuff out, turned a camera on, and kept punching my mic, or keep punching my mic, and then was like, okay, here we are. Um, so it's not really meant to be content per se, but I'm gonna do this. I don't really have a problem doing this. Maybe if I do more of this long term, I get comfortable just doing it. Okay, there we go. We're getting some good gunking out here. Gunking out. Yeah, this Game Boy sticker is pretty much a rip. Again, I don't really know what to do about these stickers right now. I don't know what the plan is, but today at least, not really a big deal. I could definitely see a world where I remove these stickers and, it's not gonna be the most aesthetically pleasing system either way without like a new shell or something. I feel like GBA SP is one of those systems that might have like a decent number of shells. The DS Fat though, man, that thing does not seem great in terms of the shells out there for like what's available and stuff. Or at least what I saw online was mostly pretty negative impressions of it, and most videos I saw, most pictures I saw just looked real rough. So that's why having to replace it with a DS shell seems like a pain. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. I think we'll get to it, but I think I'm feeling pretty okay about what's going on here with this thing. A lot of these smaller grooves here, I don't know. I mean, they're nice to clean out, but I just don't feel like I'm not gonna notice these things being cleaner or not. Let me see if there's anything like that. It just looks real questionable. Um, I think for now that might be it. We do one little Q-tip wiggle in these holes real quick. Oh wow, I'm pushing rubbing alcohol everywhere. Well, those stickers might come off on their own if I do that. These little screw holes, get them a little washed out. Ooh, baby, gunky. Let's do another round. There's Q-tips on me. Um, you're curious, this is the AGS 001 system. 2002 is what the copyright says on here. So yeah, maybe it's 2002 is when I got this thing. It was not going in as nicely. I think we got the majority of it with the back side of this Q-tip. So, all right, we got a little bit more of a shape. Let me kind of come back up here real quick. Not sure if that squeaking shows up on here. But yeah, I think I'm probably never going to open this console unless there's like a real issue I got to deal with. But the screen seemed to work, the speaker seemed to work. As far as I'm aware, the buttons all work. So I think we're pretty good in this regard. Oh, the start select could use a little. I'm curious because I think so a lot of the GameCube controllers have these like little embedded start select things as well, like little text. I'm curious if it's the same font set. I think the site's still relatively clean enough that I can probably just do this. Speaker holes, I'm a little too worried about poking in there. I don't know what's going on in there. I think if I could see visible like grime in there, I might do something about it, but I think it's probably good. Oh, the brightness button as well. That's got like a yellowiness to it. This is a little weird because the brightness button is like has a little sun in it. There's a lot of little grooves that I don't know if I'm going to get into. All right. I think that's probably good enough. Hey guys, it's the Game Boy Advance SP. He's ready to Turvy and Topsy. Anyways, we spent a lot of time on that. We're not gonna spend nearly as much time on anything else today, I think. So but just to walk through some things. Let me go through some of the stuff I don't think I'll be doing anything with today, but here's my NES. You guys know what an NES looks like. I don't need to get this in frame for you guys, but nothing really fancy bad going on right here. But you know, I think like with all NES, my pins inside, you know, when you press down, they're bent and corroded, I believe. I assume. I struggled to get NES games working, so wasn't that expensive, but I bought a 72 pin replacement slot thing. So don't really know the process of installing this. I seem to recall literally like probably 15 years ago, if not longer, watching a video about somebody doing this and being like, that doesn't seem that hard. So who knows if this requires soldering. I'll have to figure it out, but I don't believe it does. So but yeah, my NES has been not really very functional for well over a decade now, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, but not today. So my big thing was to fix like some of these battery things. I don't have a PS3 controller over here with me, but my PS3 controller's battery's pretty rip. So I will need to put this in there. I need to look for it. I have another PS3 controller around somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it shipped bad. The analog stick on it was bad from the beginning, and I went through Sony's customer service, and they gave me the hardest time in the world and never replaced it. But yeah, it was not a fun experience. Both my PSPs have bad batteries, and I have since gotten rid of them. This is the 2000 and 3000, which has its own issues as well. Let me see if I can find that. All right, here we go. You can see how nice and dusty this is. This is my 2000, or is it a 3000? I think it's a 3000 specifically. Big benefit of the 3000 is, you know, it's got video out on it, right? So you can do video out on it. That was a big deal to me. Playing it portably hasn't really been a thing, really. And this PSP in specific has another issue, which will be something I'll need to deal with. I don't really know what I need to do about it yet. I gotta sit down and do some research because it's been a bit. I might need to get some scissors too, because this thing is like really in there. All right, let's see if we can get. Hope we're not cutting any vitals in here. Okay, I think we're good. All right. So for this, you know, PSP, pretty accessible battery. I think it's just here. One of these sides. Which side is it? This side has screws on it. Is it? I think this might be it. It's like a little plastic button here. This shows you how much I used a PSP. Yeah, so there we go. No battery in there. Yes, battery in there. How's it go in there though? There we go. So the problem this system has though, I'll probably clean this up a bit later. I probably won't do it now. Just because I already put you guys through a GBA SP cleaning. Maybe it'll be a separate video. Maybe I'll do a separate PSP cleaning video. God, can I get this thing on? Lord, have mercy on my soul. Connect. Become one. Is it? Can I just click it in? Oh my god. Oh. I think it just needs to pop on. I have a problem where like I don't apply enough pressure to things, but this looks like a pretty easy cleanup. But the biggest problem with this controller or this PSP is the analog nub. The upright motion does not register well, so you'll get a lot of really bouncy behavior. So I need to figure out, is it a cleaning thing? Is it do I need to solder on a new part thing or what? And figure that out. But you know, opening this, like I said, opening portable systems is not really my desired situation. So put it aside for now. Maybe we'll come back to that shortly. Guess what? We got another PSP going on here. So I was gifted this much later when somebody was just trying to get rid of their stuff. Hey, PSP 1000, and boy, do the PSP 1000s feel significantly better. I will say I rarely have ever used this because by the time I got this, I was almost never playing portable games. You know, my PSP, my first PSP, I got after the Vita was out already. That tells you where I'm at with PSP stuff. But you know, once again, battery was not so good. So let's make that battery good again. This is specifically for the PSP 1000. Apparently, there's a difference between the batteries for them. I don't know who these companies are. TTA, I think, is what both of the brands were. Okay, no, this was an old school one. This is TTX Tech. Now, once again, hoping we're not cutting any vitals. Doesn't look like it. No wiring or anything coming off of it, so same deal. Plug it in. This is 2,600 milliamps, but I don't really know anything about that stuff. I believe the higher the number, the more the battery, but it sounds like a lot of the more charge a battery can hold. But it sounds like a lot of like ones listed online are not accurate in the number of milliamps or whatever they are, whatever's called. So there we go. So as far as I'm aware, this PSP is purely functional. The only real issue is that, you know, doesn't have video out, so I don't really use it. I know historically the systems did have problems with their square button stopping functioning. I believe the nub is perfectly good and fine. This thing feels heavy. It feels good. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, get some of the like nub gunk out of there. You know, all that stuff. The buttons do feel a little smudgy in a way that I feel like this one doesn't as much. Yeah, these definitely feel a lot more clicky. These feel a little more smudgy. And I don't know if that's an age thing or if that is a design thing. But yeah, the buttons don't feel as good. But yeah, this thing feels like twice the weight as the 2000 or 3000 kind of thing. I forget screen-wise like what quality they look. I'm going to guess these aren't going to power on for very long, but I'm going to turn them both on here real quick just to take a look at what's happening. Those both look like PSP things. My initial impression is that the screens look identical. So, who knows? Maybe when I play a video game, that won't be the case. These consoles have sleep mode as well, which is nice. So, you know, one thing. Okay, so here we go. The Game Boy Advance SP. Clamshell design, very nice, very tiny, fits in your pocket, easy to just like have on you and not worry about it too much, right? That's kind of part of the appeal of this, part of why I was thinking about it, and part was like, maybe I should bring this around with me. I won't use it very often, but maybe if I just have it with the battery charged, ready to go, Yoshi topsy-turvy, loaded, ready to fire at any moment. Maybe that works. PSP, I don't really feel like I have that luxury because you have an exposed screen. It's not the smallest device. This one in particular is pretty hefty and heavy. And like my carrying case, I mean, it's not a thin carrying case, right? This is a pretty thick boy. I don't know. This is the carrying case it came with, so I don't know what, laws are out there about different types of carrying cases. Why am I talking about laws? But, so I don't know. Let me know if you are a PSP carrying aficionado or used to be, how did you go about that? How did you keep your PSP nice, safe, compact, portable, yet protected? Comment below, and maybe you will see that error thing on the roof. It's secretly a QR code. Download it and see what happens. I'm just going off now. Anyway, so yeah, I just need to clean these up, kind of, and then this is the one I have to kind of sit down and look at. This PSP, I need to double check everything's good with it. Dropping it may have almost caused some problems there with that. But if it's all good, if I do ever go like, oh man, I'm gonna bring PSP game with me portably, maybe that will make sense. But at the same time, like, I feel like once we get to the PSP generation, shorter kind of bite-sized games was less of a thing on this platform. And I think it was like, I think, oh God, is this true? I don't know if this is true. I've heard before that like PSP games had certain aspects around them designed around like the average train trip in Japan and stuff like that, right? I don't know if that's actually real or not. But like, that's like assuming you're sitting down on public transportation, able to do something, right? Where I'm driving my car somewhere most of the time. So I don't know. Do you just go out and like just play games? There's my face. Do you just go out and like play games out publicly somewhere? And does that feel good to you? Do you like doing that? That's not something I've really ever done. Go to the park and say, yeah, crisis core time. I don't know. Batteries equipped. Step 1. Step 2 will be to clean those. Not much to say about these. These are batteries for Game Boy games. I should have one in here. So this, I think, notoriously, Pokemon Gold and Silver, batteries die like crazy. This one's been dead forever. Never really played Pokemon Silver. I have it. I played it briefly, and then my friend was like, "Hey, buddy, I have a Pelican cheat device, which is basically a Game Shark, and all my Pokemon suddenly became level 100 from feeding it rare candy all day long." So I basically never played this game because I just kind of cheated the heck out of it, and boy, I don't remember anything about it. So if you know me, Pokemon games not exactly my bread and butter of games. I have no affinity for silver and gold specifically. The Night Day system, I seem to recall being pretty cool. But I believe this one here, this is the larger battery. I believe this is the one that goes in here. I have this one for Wave Race specifically because the battery in Wave Race I know is confirmed dead for me as well. So I believe this is the one for Wave Race. So, but I believe that this game in particular seems to drain battery quickly no matter what. So I think when I do this, I may make a very specific effort to go and beat this game. And like play it normally, which would be the first time I've done that with Pokemon game in literally forever, which the last time I played Pokemon White, and that was the first time I played Pokemon game in literally forever as well. So that tells you how often I'm playing Pokemon games. So yeah, so that's the intention. This requires soldering work though. I believe you can also socket these things as well, but I think I'll probably just solder the battery directly, and if someday I decide I want to try socketing them, I can. I never looked into it really. So anyways. That Oh, let me go get my other Game Boy Advance real quick. All right, so this is another childhood game system. It's grody. There's problems with it. Screen's got a little weird something there. So yeah, it's not in the greatest condition. You know, it's a white system. It's yellowed. I would have preferred the purple one. Today I would prefer the purple one. I don't remember what color I wanted back then. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a backlight installed in here. This is pretty like standard stock GBA. The thing I'll say, significantly prefer the feel of this over a GBA SP. GBA SPs feel cramped. I do not like this feeling. I don't like the weird like grippiness on the back there that happens. This nice comfort holding kind of thing. Like I don't feel like I'm crunching my fingers up to get it in there, right? Let me see if that's just like my brain. I guess I could just do this and then I'm touching myself and it's having, you know, at that point I feel like I like the breathability of this and the shoulder buttons feel good. So what I've been using this for is when I play games on a Game Boy Advance player, I use the Game Boy Advance SP connection thing or Game Boy Advance to GameCube player connection thing. And for the batteries, I don't use batteries anymore because I hated having to like switch out the batteries all the time. So I bought this dumb thing, which is basically just an AC powered thing for your Game Boy Advance. Like this does not hold a charge. It does nothing other than just takes the power that goes in here and feeds it into your GBA SP so you can sit at a wall socket and just play your GBA. And so when I play games on the GameCube player, I can use this GBA. Well, we'll get back on here in a second. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and my brain is. But I bought this because it was fairly cheap, but I was just kind of curious like how close it looked. So this is my original. Where is it? Where did I put it? My desk is a mess right now. So here's my original battery cover. The hinge on this thing has broken and split. So it no longer clicks in. It just kind of sticks right here and it will fall out if you mess it enough. Actually, it's staying in there pretty dang good. But yeah, there's no like, this does not click in the way it should. For a while, I had a piece of electrical tape that held it in here. But yeah, this is a replacement one. And, you know, color-wise, I think that's a pretty dang good match, honestly. That was kind of my big thing, was like, how does it look and feel color-wise? Texture-wise, I think this doesn't feel as good. This is like that kind of like, oh, I don't know if it's a finished plastic or what, where this feels porous in some ways. It feels like it's bigger than it. This looks like it's like almost like a slightly, like it has absorbed water. Like it is puffier than it should be, kind of thing. But I was just kind of curious like how this would look. Slips right in. This does feel bigger than I feel like it should. This feels like it's sticking out more. I don't, you guys can't really see it unfortunately, but there's just kind of a rim to it. Yeah, that definitely doesn't have it. So yeah, it is puffier. Sticks out more, but you know, it's gonna keep your batteries in, it looks like, probably. And color-wise, I think it generally matches. But it just looks weird. And you know, color, like this color is worn and whatever, right? So if you're like, there's a color difference, well, this Game Boy Advance has in its life become a color difference, but you know, but you know, I think the weirdness is just how much it feels like it sticks out. So interesting. I mean, that's kind of the problem with all aftermarket stuff, I think, when it comes to shells, is that like the plastic's just like not quite right a lot of times. So anyways, I was just more curious that I think it was like $250 or something like that, so it wasn't a huge deal. I'll probably continue to leave this thing in here long term, assuming I can get it back in, you know, because this is ultimately what I use it for. It'd be kind of nice to get like a shell that is this color though, and like replace this shell, because you know this is a grody shell in general, and I don't really care for. I don't like white handhelds. Maybe because when I was growing up, and white things in general, because when I'm growing up, all of them got super grody, and so like my brain is like they're just gonna get gross. Anything I have that's white, I feel like got that way. So again, childhood hands were not great. Teenage hands were not that great. Maybe to some extent, young adult hands were not that great as well. So, but yeah, there's like some little yellowing here that really is just kind of there. There's little yellowing here. I don't know if like, I don't really know what would be the best way to tackle that, right? Scratch on the screen, it looks like, which is fine. You know, when you're playing a game, I don't think it'll be super noticeable. Probably go through and get some growdiness out of these spaces here. We'll come back to that, I think. But yeah, the system is generally fine and functional. It could use a little cleanup, probably. Little detail, but I think generally I probably at some point cleaned this when I was using this thing again. So I'm gonna guess probably cleaning wise is probably generally pretty fine. Yeah, nothing here is reading to me as like super like that is actual just like gunk on the system. A lot of this is just the system has yellowed now. From the gunk, I don't know. From sunlight, I don't know. There's a yellowness here that seems to be permanent as well. All very slight. You know, I think if you were to see this from, you know, even on camera here, I don't think it looks that bad. And, you know, especially with the back piece kind of thing. The sticker, again, stickers, just at some point, maybe I should just get rid of them. I was just thinking, like, maybe I should get Hunex stickers and just stick Hunex stickers all over my systems. How long has it been? We can go an hour. I think we'll probably start to wrap this up. Let me see if there's anything else in here that like is that I bought that seems like something I want to talk about. Otherwise, I'll just go through the remainder of my hardware. I think everything that I bought is here. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to take this out because it seems like a pain. But my Nintendo 3DS, my original Nintendo 3DS that I use for game capture, the screen is having some problems with it. So this is a digitizer, I believe is what it's called. And it basically, I think, is used to track where touchscreen inputs are on the DS. The problem is that my 3DS is capture modded. So when I open it up, I need to figure out how to get around that first. Because it's like a back plate on the 3DS that like covers the rest of the system. So I have to get through that capture mod into the system and then replace the digitizer on the screen. I also recently sent off my new 3DS XL to go get capture modded as well because those were back in stock and I was interested in doing that. So, we're going to go through these fairly quickly, but I just want to kind of give you a breakdown of what's going on here. Like I said, this one's just kind of generally has like an ugly-ish look to it. You might be looking at this and saying, hey, your hinge is broken, and technically it is. But I think I seem to recall at one point working with my sister to get this super glued. So this little piece here, and this piece here, where this connected to the top screen. It's this whole, like, I guess, 3/4 circle kind of thing. So it's like, you know, 3/4 of a ring came out or broke. And so the hinge was not staying on properly. And we were able to super glue that. I do not think I did it myself because I just do not have great hand precision with that stuff, or at least historically have not. A lot of this yellowing is just straight up the plastic itself. There might be some growdiness in here. I don't think I've cleaned this thing up. I just stabbed that thing here and like there's an adhesive there, it looks like, and I just made a hole in it. So, you know, that might not be doing so great. The microphone I was having problem with when I was using my DS, so that's probably something that I'll need to address. The speakers, I believe one of these no longer works or makes a like grainy noise when I do it. I believe I've taken the battery out of this. We'll double check that here before we put this away. So yeah, so we're looking at microphone, speakers, and hinge, but the hinge seems to be holding up right now. So what I'm thinking for replacing this, like if I want to resolve the hinge issue without, you know, having to worry about is this you know, super glue going to hold up, which it seems like it's doing pretty well. And like, as I open and close it, you know, I'm gentle with it, but it doesn't seem to be like questionable. I'm sure every time I do this, it's applying pressure to it or whatever. I think this is, you know, it's functional, right? But with how this is connected, so this is connected to the top plastic part as far as I can tell. So if I were to find a 3DS with this part of the hinge not broken and this part not broken, the parts that are connected to the top section here Um, that seems like I could use that as a different part system. Now, ideally, I do not like this platinum look. As we have shown over time, in my opinion and my experience with all my silver systems, there's always this worn look they get. This stuff just seems to rub away. I don't know why this one's yellow. Most of them I see is like kind of like an off-white kind of look. The GBA SP generally has held up well, but it has its own problems here. You can see like at the top there. Again, it's not the best setup for this stuff, but I think there's a lot I would like to do in terms of just like maybe just a different color for this. But from what I have seen online of like not like aftermarket parts, the replacement options for these are just not great. So I think what I would want to do is probably gut a original 3DS and either get a different color here and hopefully eventually get another like system that has the matching color here, or just do a different color and then live with it and have like a black and like silver. The inside down here is at least better, right? There's some yellowing on the sides here. It definitely is worn. I don't know what happened here. It's like scrapes all right there, right? Like there's a lot of stuff going on here, but I don't think anything looks nearly as bad as this top section here. So I think that'd be the big thing, but I would rather prefer to replace all of it if I can. That being said, this is an original launch DS model. I know you can't see any of the wording on there anymore. Again, situation where I probably just need to get rid of the sticker and put my own Hunex branded sticker there. But, it is one of those things where I just need to make sure that if I get another system with a different color, that the parts will be compatible. Because sometimes they aren't. GBA, I tried to fix this forever ago. It's like probably 10 or something. And I got like this whole screen thing came off on this thing, and I put super glue in, and I think you can kind of tell as I wipe the dust away. Inside here, there's like glue smudges and stuff. So I just did a bad job, and I need to fix that. But obviously, this thing is yellowed to hell as well. This might be a decent contender for like me ever trying Retro Bright specifically, right? Um, Especially since I will probably never actually use this thing. So, but be interesting to try Retro Bright with it. Small, compact. I don't know what it will do, and if at the end of the day it stops being good, then it's fine. This was not my Game Boy. I have no idea why I bought this Game Boy, to be honest with you. I never used this thing substantially. I had a Game Boy Color by the time this thing was around. So what I was thinking when I was like 8 buying this, I don't know. Any batteries in here? No? Okay, good. I don't know what I was thinking when I was buying it. So it is basically a fodder system to me. I probably could trade it in and somebody else get some more joy out of it than me. But if I were to get any joy out of it, I think it'd be trying to fix this yellowing because this is really bad. Not a lot to say here. A bunch of PS2 controllers and their parts that no longer work. I have a Wii remote. I have a note here for the Wii remote. Power on, then turns off. So I don't know what's wrong with it. Basically, we'll just have to like pop it open and see what's going on with it. I have a bunch of Wiimotes here that do work. There's 3 of them in here. But the nunchuck connector is broken. I have this problem all the time. I don't know if it's something about like how I am rough with these controllers or whatever. But the nunchuck connector stops working on all my Wii remotes, including a Wii Remote Plus recently. So apparently whatever problem caused these to be an issue continues to be an issue. Maybe I'm too rough with them. Maybe I'm stressing them too much. I don't know. But going to fix it. I'm going to guess that's going to require some soldering work or replacing these connectors with fresh ones. If you have that problem, let me know. I don't really hear anyone talk about that, so I assume it might be a me issue. GameCube controllers, I have 30 billion of them. Speaking of me issues, I find I consistently have problem with analog sticks on almost all controllers, even older ones. So, I need to replace the box on those and solder them. But I feel like I get them more than other people. So I'm guessing there's something to do with like how rough I am with controller analog sticks, maybe. This is one of the controllers that I tried to fix. I fixed half my PS4 controllers, but half of them I also made worse. So I kind of replaced the sensors on the analog sticks, but 2 of them I messed up. So now the sticks don't work right. So I think I have to, for both of these, replace the actual analog stick boxes, which will require me to use a soldering thing as well. Game Boy Color, again, I don't know why I would use this. I did use it fairly recently, actually, in the context of the grand scheme of things, when I played Bionic Commando Elite Forces, because the Game Boy Advance crashes playing that game. So playing the Game Boy on a Game Boy Color made it work. Looks like that works. I think these are batteries that are not supposed to leak, but honestly, I could use these batteries elsewhere in a more productive place either way. So we're just going to take these out. But I think the ultimate lithium aren't supposed to leak, but who's to say? Stickers in good condition generally. I could probably just re-glue this one again somehow, just get it flattened out, and it would still look pretty good. The Game Boy sticker, maybe not so much, right? Generally, just a good cleaning, I think, might be helpful for some of this stuff, too. So, but did I mention the speaker doesn't work on it? That's kind of the big thing. And I dropped it here, and it got a chip marked out of it, but that's not really a big deal. So, a little grody, but the speaker is also a little grody too, isn't it? Oh, no, interesting. So the speaker holes aren't all speaker holes. Some of them are just fake speaker holes. Huh. Anyways, this could definitely use a little cleaning, though, for sure. Got a little gunk there just from scratching that, so. This is not really a game device, but something I probably should at least try at some point. I had a Samsung Galaxy, I think this is an S9, something like that. Spiked this thing against a table on accident. Screen busted. Screen turned off. Ooh, that looks lovely. Didn't need to fix that at some point. So I know replacing phone screens is not an easy task per se. There is stuff on there that I wouldn't mind getting off, but none of that's mission critical stuff, so I'm not too worried about it, but I would like to someday. It's just a mouse. I just need to fix the clicker on it. I shouldn't show you that stuff. That stuff doesn't really matter as much. 3DS. Let's bring this out. This is 3DS XL. I actually really like the look of this. Also, like the PSP 1000, this thing is hefty. This is a hefty baby boy, but we got some stuff going on here. Check out this sick mod I got here. I am one of those people when playing Smash Brothers on the 3DS, broke my circle pad. So you know what I did to resolve that issue? I had a ThinkPad PC, and I ripped the mouse nub off of it and made it fit on the circle pad. I think this may be super glued on. I don't know for sure. I haven't used it recently. I don't want to pull on it because I'd rather it stay there if possible. I kind of like this better than a circle pad. Like, I like the smaller form factor of this. I just think this feels better for me. I don't know why. It just feels better for me. But also, continuing the trend, this 3DS also fell on the floor at some point. I have a great tendency to throw stuff on the ground somehow. Despite visually, this actually looking pretty dang good. But the specifically the cameras on this thing do not work properly. I recently modded this to pull for spot pass data and things like that. So generally it works well as far as I can tell. I don't really have a lot of reason to use it right now because I have a new 3DS XL. And that's kind of my main 3DS when I'm not hacking stuff. My normal 3DS has been my main 3DS when I'm not hacking stuff. But when I pull the camera up here, you all just see things don't go so good. 3DS don't feel so well. We got a black screen there. We're going to go to the inner camera. Oh, also a black screen. There we go. There's the inner camera. I think if I switch back to the outer camera, though, it actually works. Oh, yeah, so the outer camera now works. But when you go to the inner camera, obviously things are bad. So I don't know what happened. If the cable got dislodged or what. May not need to even buy anything to fix that. But yeah, so that's kind of the big thing would be that, and then also the nub here. But I kind of like this. I kind of like it. I like it. I like it. That's what I need to do with that. Again, not a ton of incentive on this one because I just don't have a lot of need for it. But I don't know. You never know. You never know when you need a 3DS XL specifically because some random reason that it matters. GameCube. This thing, you want to see what a purple GameCube looks like on this camera? It's supposed to look like this. This is supposed to be the color. Now, this is not accurate because my camera's not getting the proper lighting, but you can clearly see this GameCube has darkened itself over time. It's got kind of like a cobalt look to it. It's interesting. It's almost like it's like almost become like a black GameCube, but it's not quite there. It's really interesting. I don't know why this happened. It was sitting in like a curio cabinet kind of thing. So maybe the light and the UV light just kind of hit it in all the ways. There's also a very questionable film over top of it that kind of looked like a fungus. So I did not have access to this GameCube for many years. So when I went to go get it, I just kind of got it in the state it was. But this was my original GameCube. But you know, it's lived its life. The disc drive for a long time has not worked, even back when, like, I think it literally, the disc drive died the night the Wii came out. And I was like, well, cool, I don't need to replace the GameCube. But everything else, as far as I'm aware, works in this thing. So I think this is a good contender to, like, put an ODE in or something. And then just clean it up, right? Get it looking a little bit better. I think we'll just kind of live in and enjoy the cobalt coloring, and that will just be my own personalized GameCube. Hot tip. You want a cobalt GameCube, put it in a curio cabinet with lights and some mold for 4 years. 64, this thing generally works, and this is probably a project well outside my scope. This is my childhood 64. I think there's a problem with the GPU on here, and I don't know if there's a way I can replace the GPU. Again, I've never really soldered before, so I'm going to guess this will be one of the last things I tackle. But, you know, it's there. Does this have a... Do all 64s have the slot on there? I don't know if that's the case. I think it's like the NES, right? That, like, not all of them have the slot. Anyways, those are my dreams, my desires. And today, where is it? Today, one of my desires has been fulfilled. We have slightly cleaned up this thing. We got a battery in it. We got Yoshi Topsy-Turvy in it. This thing is pretty much good to go. Unfortunately, Game Boy Advance SPs, for some reason, do not have a microphone port on it, or audio out, headphone port. That's what I'm looking for. Seems like a crazy design decision to make in a time where you didn't have Bluetooth headphone devices. I don't understand why they do it. I know there's an adapter, but what the heck were they thinking? Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, it probably was a compromise to fit all this stuff in, but that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. So that's the one thing I have to think about. Like, when I'm out and about, I won't be able to hear the beautiful tunes of the Japanese copy of Yoshi Topsy-Turvy.